can you record the police during an interaction that you have with them as a citizen in Colorado? My name is Austin Lux. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I practice in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I'm going to answer that question. Are you allowed to record the police during an investigation involving you as a person suspected of a crime, or an investigation involving anyone else suspected of being involved in a crime? And the answer to that question is yes. You absolutely can record the police. In fact, Colorado has some very liberal laws when it comes to recording anyone in general. So Colorado is what's known as a single party consent state for recording. And what that means is that as long as you are a party to what is happening, meaning that you are involved in the situation and physically present, or at least a party on the phone to a conversation, you're allowed to record that conversation. And that's different than states like California, which are two-party consent states. So both parties involved in a conversation or encounter have to consent to recording. Colorado's not that way. So as long as you are physically involved in the encounter or the conversation, then you're allowed to record it. So how does that matter in the context of a stop or a police investigation? Well, if you are suspected of being involved in a crime, then you'll be contacted by police. And if the police are doing their job, then they'll have their body-worn cameras on and they'll be recording you. And so you absolutely have the same right to record them as well during their encounter with you. Are there limits to that? Well, sure. I mean, there's limits to everything. But, they're pretty confined. So you're allowed to record police to the extent that it does not impair their investigation. So what I mean by that is that if you are recording police officers and at a certain point during their investigation they decide that they have probable cause to arrest you for an offense, then they're going to tell you to put your arms behind your back, and they're going to put you in handcuffs and take you into custody. Well, at that point, then assuming that they've given you a lawful order, and quite frankly, that's not the time to litigate that. That comes later. So the minute they tell you to put your arms behind your back, you have to comply. And that means you got to put the cell phone down or the recording device down. You don't have to turn it off. You don't have to terminate the recording, but you can no longer hold up their order that you be placed under arrest by continuing to record. If you do continue to record, obviously that may become a situation that gets physical. The police will force you into custody and may even charge you with resisting arrest or the crime of obstruction. The same goes if you are not the person being investigated, but maybe a witness or a party to that investigation. You're allowed to record what the police are doing, but if you are getting in their way, so what I mean by that is if you're getting between them and the suspect that they're trying to take in custody so that you can record, or if you're impeding traffic or something like that, then the police will order you to relocate, and you have to comply with that order. Outside of those requirements, there's not a lot of other restrictions that the police can put on you to stop you from recording their encounter. And it's a good idea to record everything these days. The trials I do, the video evidence is normally the best evidence of what happened. And if police are going to have their body-worn camera footage on, that's great. It's only going to capture their point of view. So it's only going to capture what basically their chest sees, because it's mounted in the middle of their chest. And so a lot of things that may be significant to you won't get picked up by their body-worn camera footage, and that's something that you can capture if you have your cell phone ready to go during those encounters. And the same goes for any kind of traffic encounter that you're involved in. We have a lot of people that get rear-ended or maybe get cut off in traffic, and the folks who have a dash cam video just running when they're driving. Motorcyclists are pretty good about doing this because everyone wants to blame the motorcycle rider for any time any traffic accident occurs. But a lot of times what will happen is you'll get cut off in traffic, and that will be the cause of the accident. But when police show up, they're just going to hear from the other driver that, hey, this guy rear-ended me. And almost always, at least police officers in the county that I practice, in El Paso County, they almost always charge the driver in the back, so the driver that rear-ended the other driver, mostly because their perception is that the person following should be giving enough room to be able to stop. And that's, a good general policy, but it doesn't take into account the situations where somebody cuts you off or brake checks you. I had a case that involved somebody brake checking my client, and he's the one who got charged. And he didn't have a dash cam video, but he was able to pull video from a colleague of his who I guess knew a commercial store owner that had some security cam footage that just ran consistently on that intersection, and it 100% captured this lady stopping dead center of traffic, no traffic in front of her, and causing this accident, and then getting out of the car and doing the neck injury move. So to answer that question, in Colorado, as long as you are a party to a conversation or an encounter, then you're allowed to record. You can 100% record law enforcement. There's nothing wrong with that. My name is Austin Lux. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I practice in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I want you to know your rights and know the law.